I put my dad in the street against a heavyweight.
I've gone back to the dad. I've punched him a few more
There's
times.
5 blokes outside my front door. Can you come and help
One
me?
hell of a fucking story, so stay tuned.
This is Umar Ahmed for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. We're at the BT studios. I'm joined by former heavyweight world champion Joseph Parker. I can't believe I'm actually saying this, but the fight with Joyce is on. Adam Morley said it was torturous to deal with your team.
It was very torturous to be dealing with Frank Warren and Adam Morley and all their team.
It was torturous for you guys as well?
It's torturous. But listen, if we shake someone's hand for a 1-fight deal and you change it to a 3-fight deal, then the contract keeps changing. How torturous is that? You know, you promise this and you promise that, all of a sudden the contract comes back, it's changed. So I'll only sign a contract if it's the right terms and what we all agree to. But when you agree to something and it keeps changing, why would I sign a deal?
Let's address this then. What changed in the initial deal?
Well, I shook his hand for a 1-fight deal, Joyce, then the contract came as a 3-fight deal. You know, and then, you know, things like flights, accommodation, all these things that fighters are supposed to get. You know, the wording on the contract, you know, things keep changing, and we weren't happy with the terms, you know. And I got my lawyer and my manager looking at it, and it just kept. It wasn't something that I was happy to sign. I don't want to sign something that I'm not happy with. You know, as a fighter, you got to sign and be happy and lead. Listen, the contract doesn't matter. You just train, fight, and keep fighting. But when you're not happy, you can't go into a contract that doesn't make sense for you.
Absolutely, all fighters have got to do that, and that you sign your deal with Sky Sports and Boxer. Yeah. Just one question on that. Frank had a gripe with it all because he said to me on an interview, if Joe had a good deal from Sky or someone else, that's perfectly fine, but why didn't you come back to me, i.e. Frank, and try and renegotiate the initial deal if you weren't happy?
He was unnegotiable.
Really?
He wouldn't move. He wouldn't budge. I try to say, hey, let's, you know, can we do this and do that? Wouldn't budge and wouldn't move. So he can say that he wants I should have talked to him and he could have, you know, renegotiated. He wasn't willing to from the beginning. It was either take it or leave it. That's the stance that we had.
So you didn't at one point go back to him and say, let's try and change the deal? That's what I think he had the annoyance at.
I tried. Okay. Well, he's saying this and I'm saying that. So people are going to believe who they want to believe. You know, I'm just look when I did the deal with Dillian White, it was a handshake. You know, when I did the deal with Joshua, it didn't take that long. Like, fights shouldn't take that long to lock in. You know, you should be focused on locking the fight and then training for it and then setting a date. Not announcing a fight that there wasn't even a contract signed.
Okay, well listen, you and Frank have always been on good terms because obviously he's Tyson Fury's promoter. You are a training partner of Tyson, one of his best mates. So it was kind of awkward from a public point of view to see you guys sort of being on good terms, especially during the Fury-White fight week, and then there was a bit of a public fallout. Now we're back to a situation where the fight is on. So what's the relationship like with you and Frank? Is it a bit frosty?
No, it's not frosty. It's just, this is part of boxing. It's boxing business. If the business side of things was easier to deal with, it would be great. But you gotta, everyone's got to be happy moving into a fight. And I'm glad that we're here now. I'm glad that I've signed with Boxer and Sky, and they've allowed me to fight on BT, you know. So they have my best interest because they're not stopping a fight from happening because it's a different network. And I've signed with them because they want to make me their fighter, not the B fighter, like Frank was going to make me. And Frank didn't care about me. He's the B fighter. He's going to come in and fight our fighters, and you know, he wanted me to get smashed up and move on.
Why did you think their side, i.e. Adam Morley, was saying you guys were torturous to deal with in terms of the demands you were asking for?
No idea. I think you should ask him, but if you speak to David Higgins and myself, because David always updates me on what's happening, it was torturous, nightmare. You know, like I said, fights in the past have been easy to make. This is the hardest fight I've ever had to be involved in to try and make. And I'm sure it's the same with their side, but, you know, it is what it is.
After saying all that, we are finally here, September 24th, live on BT Sport Box Office. It's going down in Manchester. Outside of really your Furies, your Usyks, your Joshuas, I think everyone agrees this is the best fight you can make in the heavyweight division. This
is the best fight, well, for me and for Joe himself. Both highly ranked WBO, WBC. And it's the fight that, you know, we did announce it before with no contract, but we're here now. and I'm very excited to be back in the UK. I'm looking forward to training with Andy come next week. I have Anthony Presley here from the States making all my meals. This is going to be the best camp I've ever had. Listen, I've had great camps in the past, but this time it's going to be perfect.
I think we have to close off, but I'll leave a last question. Why did you ultimately beat Joe Joyce?
Because I'm better than him. I'm going to box his head off. You know,
I believe you can stop him?
I believe I can stop him. I believe I can stop anyone. You know, every heavyweight can stop every other heavyweight. It just takes one punch at the right time, landing in the right place. But I can beat him and I can stop him.
Joe Parker, my fellow Brit now, I don't consider you a New Zealander. Thank you very much for talking to IFL TV, and we'll see you in Manchester on Fight Week. Have a great camp.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I put my dad in the street against a heavyweight.
I've gone back to the dad. I've punched him a few more
There's
times.
5 blokes outside my front door. Can you come and help
One
me?
hell of a fucking story, so stay tuned.
Welcome, Team Everlast, to the Team Everlast Fitness app. Download the Everlast Fitness app and find your greatness within.